All right, well, if you've been watching, you know that I like building trucks. And if you watch from the first, you would have seen this FedEx truck. I took the engine out of the FedEx truck, which was a T444E 73 Power Stroke, and put it in that dump truck. So now we're gonna repower this. I have this that has a DT360 in it that has a front to back uh, cooling system in it. So the most of the international stuff has, especially the DT series and the 7.3, they have a side by side cooler. So this was kind of cool because it actually has a front to back, so you can push a little more horsepower without worrying about overheating it. Um, you can also put a front to back in it aftermarket. The dump truck does have a front to back in it. Um, I'll put in there. So we're gonna take the engine out of that bus and we're gonna put it in here. So the thing that is going to be the challenge with this had a 7.3 in it. And the 7.3 and the DT360 are not the same length. So the cool thing about the dump truck is it had a IDI 7.3. So dimensionally, they were the same. It dropped right down in the same spot. So it's pretty easy in that regard. This, I'm going to have to somehow make up, like, according to my measurements, about 5 inches. If you Google it, it's anywhere from 5 to 15 inches. So, um, try to do this as fast as I can because I need a tow vehicle for my trailer. I haul I haul quite a bit with my gooseneck, and my pickup is a thing of the past now, unfortunately. Um, but in my situation, a little bit fortunate. So maybe I'll talk about that one day. But so this has to be completely repowered, completely redone. So I'm gonna get to washing it, and um, after I wash it, we'll get it pulled over there, get transmission out of it, and I'm gonna move the bus over so that I can get to it to pull the engine. I've got a loader. I've got a big loader here, and that is absolutely sufficient to pull the engine. But because this sets in so far, I'm actually going to borrow a skid steer with forks on it so that I can be over top of the engine and stick it in there, because I'm going to need some really precise, like, hold it right there for a while so I can figure it out. Um, Borrowing the skid steer for free is a lot cheaper than going and renting or buying a big um, cherry picker. So, and those engines are pretty heavy. I think they're 16, I think is the dry weight on them or something like that. So, and it's going to be outfitted out with air compressor and all kinds of stuff, because that does have an air compressor on it, which is going to be nice because this transmission is a 13 speed, and so I have to have air to shift it. And before, um, when I first put it in there with the 7.3, it didn't have air because it's hydraulic brake. Um, and I just kind of proof of concept, make sure it works. I just had a generator sitting on the back on a pallet with like a little pancake air compressor, so it would hold air long enough. I could drive quite a long ways because the transmission doesn't take very much air to shift it, just a little poof, to shift it. So, I mean, I would drive an hour to where I pick up a load, and it would still have 50, 60 pounds, and or more, and then I would just start the generator, let it build up, and shut it off and take off. And it's an hour to where I deliver, and then do the thing again. So, but that's a little bit redneck. So I want an actual air compressor. So I was originally going to put an electric one on here, but I never got to the point to where you know, I decided that I would have been doing that. And I really wanted to repower it with a T44E. I found this bus for dirt cheap, and like I say, it runs, drives. I drove the bus 2 hours, almost home. I ran it out of fuel, but I mean it ran just fine. So aside from the fact that it has like a 3-speed automatic, so like 60 or something like that was like top speed, 55, 60. So, but the engine is great, and I'm gonna get it out. We're gonna see if we can get it in here. Well, there it is without the hood on. You can see a little better. Got this big, nice cooler for the air-to-air. Gonna take this deal off here. Somebody got it zip tied there. Yeah, so we're gonna get it pulled out of here. We're gonna take the cooling stack off. So what we usually do, we'll take the bumper off, take the cooling stack out. I'll probably get the air cleaner out of the way, kind of get some of that stuff out of the way. And then there's one bolt in the front that holds for the front mount. And there's one on either side of the bell housing. And pretty much aside from a couple of hoses, she'll just pull right out of there. So shouldn't take very long. All right, so this thing is like super easy to get the cab off because it's so short and everything. And so I really, really want to protect every single aspect of this. I don't want to damage anything. The fuel filters are new. I don't want to take any chance of, I say filters, most of these had 2, but this one only has 1. But so I cut these mounts here and got that one cut off there. And then there was only 2 others back here. These ones here, they're just like little sandwich deals. These deals here, just sandwich that on there. So I'm gonna grab the loader. Daphne's not here, but I think maybe I can get it off there. Not 100% sure how to do it. I wonder if these mirror brackets will pick it up. That's what I'm gonna try. I guess I could run a chain all the way underneath and above on both sides. That would work. But I'm going to pull the whole cab off, and be a heck of a lot easier to get this thing out of there. There's that washer I lost. Alright, well, the video was deleted of me pulling the cab off. So anyway, I went ahead and pulled the cab off. It was a lot easier to do that because there was a bolt here and over there, and then one here and here, and there was like a clip back here. So it's super easy to do that. That allows me really good access here, and I can get it out without damaging anything. I did dent this stupid pipe here. That kind of bothers my nerves, but whatever. Maybe I can find one at the scrapyard. I can finally see the horsepower here. We're at 180, so we can make that more. Kind of a cool setup here. It has a adapter on it because this transmission isn't number SA2 bell housing or whatever, so they've got an adapter here, so that's pretty cool. I wonder what kind of transmission it is. It's probably an Allison something or another. I would pretty sure imagine that. It's an Allison AT540, so I think it's like a 3-speed or something. I don't know if anybody will buy it from me, but it'll be for sale. So transmission fluid come out of it was really nice. So but anyways, got it all out of there. So now I just have to pull the engine out, take transmission off. All it is this bolt. There's one over there, and there's one in the front. And that bad boy will lift right out of there. There's one right under there. But it'll lift right out of there. So I'll take this tomfoolery off here, and I'll have a valve on it, but it'll be a lot better than that. It's kind of retarded. So this will be blocked off because I believe that went to the other heater core. There's 2 heater cores in there. And then the air, all I'm going to use the air for is the, well, I'm just going to have a tank on there for airing tires up or something like that, but my transmission is a RTO 9513, so I have to have air for that. This right here, this will be not like that. The hose will just come from here and go to the heater core. I will fix that. So yeah, that turbo is about this big. I have a HX 40 in the garage that I have had for that truck there, Dream 1. And I'll probably maybe put it on here, maybe turn the pump up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I don't want to get too Western with it because it's kind of like the only thing I have right now. So I've got to get this thing together and on the road, and then I can play after, you know, maybe I get Dream 1 back on the road or, you know, something like that. So, but yeah, pretty cool here. Really mad at myself about this. I don't know if maybe I can pull that out. Okay, so the other truck, from this bolt here, the center of that bolt there, to the front of this bolt, is 35 and a half. So we are 28, about 28 and a half here. So that means that I have to make up, what's that, 5 inches? Is that 5 inches? I mean 8 inches. So I think that I'll just have to cut this lip out here, because from that lip to the bell housing is approximately, to the front of the bell housing here, is a little more than 8 inches. So I think that'll work. Okay, so I've determined that I'm pretty sure the mounts are going to go here. So they were in these holes here. So I'm pretty sure this is where it's going to go. There was one hole that lined up just right. This hole here, it's for the spring hanger. So pretty sure that's where it's going to go. So I was thinking, well, I wonder, you know, I've got the engine mount figured out, and I am going to have to cut this out because, so the bell housing is where the transmission meets the bell housing, or where the engine meets the bell housing, is going to be right on this lip, right, you know, pretty much right there. And from right there, where the engine meets the bell housing, it's a foot from the top of the bell housing to the top of the engine, so to the valve cover. So this is all probably going to have to be cut out, and I'm going to have to reinvent the doghouse. So I was wondering, like, okay, well, I got all that figured out. What about the radiator? So from the center of the front, so this is where the engine support mounts. It goes here. And I'm like, okay, how far is that? So I measured from here. And so right there's the center of where the core support, most of the core supports, it's right in the center of the core support. So this I measured, and I mean, I'm guessing here because I mean I can't be 100% accurate, but like 5.5-ish, 6, something, you know, about 5.5 is where the from the center of that bolt. So go over here, you measure. So this bracket is the same. It's the same. So measure there. So the center of that bolt to there, and you're like, oh crap, what in the world am I gonna do? So you're setting around 10 inches to the center of that bolt. Like I say, I'm taking a shot in the dark here because I can't see for sure, but pretty close to 10 inches. And then I got to thinking, this is the first one I've seen that's set out like this. Like I say, most of the time, the bolt is in the center of this. Up in here, right in the center, you know, in the center, or whatever. So, and that, if you measure, so like from approximately the center, you're setting it like, that's pull. So pulling is 4.5. So let's do 2 1/4 here. And then, so you're setting it 3 inches to the center of this hole. So if I use another core support, I can take up that 3 inches, and that was 10 inches. So that takes it down to 7 inches. And that one over there is setting at, it's setting at 5 inches. So this is setting at about 5 inches. About 6 inches. So I might have enough room there. I might have enough to play with. But there's a hole here. So the distance in these are 2 3/4. So let's see what the distance here is. So that's, so I might be able to move this piece forward. And I know that I do have enough room because I had, so with the hood shut, I had the regular core support that came with that truck with, see, the hole is in the center there. See that? So I had the regular core support, just like factory, and then I, in addition, installed this. So I know that there's room to move. The intercooler on that is quite a bit narrower than this. So, I mean, this thing is 2, and my tape measure's so dirty, can't hardly read it. Oh, it's about 2 1/4-ish. And so this one here is quite a bit bigger than that. And not mentioned 2 1/4 wide. I also had it spaced out a little bit so they were everything. And so this one is like right up against it, you know, because they made it like that. So this one's only 2 inches. So I don't remember how much I had it spaced out, but I mean, I would imagine I probably had it spaced out at least 1/2 inch. So you can figure that one over there was spaced out 2 1/4, and then 1/2 is 2 3/4. So you're making up 3/4 of an inch here. So I think that'll be fine. I'll just have to use the other core support. So I have several of these core supports laying around. So I just have to use a different core support that has the hole in the center and not that step like that. All right, well, I had to cut the lip out down there at the bottom, which kind of is a bummer because if you see that lip that goes on out there, that's where the plate goes down for that whole center there, that big plate there. I say it's a bummer, like whatever. And then I cut this out up here. That's gonna be where the engine's gonna stick through. So I may have to cut a little bit more. That was just a cut once after I measured 10 times. So hopefully it's close. So we're gonna get it stuck in here. It's got a MW pump on it. Got the air. And cool thing about this one, I've said it before, but it's got the manifold that sticks up. Most of these manifolds were sticking down this inlet here. So that's really cool about this one. I really like that. So it makes it where you can actually get a P-pump on here if you want to get a P-pump on it. This flywheel I got off of another one, and it's kind of in rough shape. So I don't know if I'll get it turned. I'll probably see if they'll turn it. If it's too far gone, then I don't know. I mean, I guess I have to buy another one. We'll see how much they are. Got a little bitty turbo on it, but it's leaking some oil in here somewhere. It's coming out of this breather here. So that's just got a flat seal behind it, so I can take that off and make another seal for that. I don't know if any's coming out of here or not, out of the turbo drain, but I can put another piece of hose on that. A little bit better hose, newer hose. And but yeah, so nice engine. It runs good. I know it runs good because I drove it. This looks like a brand new primer pump. So yeah, 180. We'll turn that up, no doubt. I ain't got time for low horse. I need big horse and tall gears. get somewhere. Well, we had to reposition it. That chain was too long, so put some straps on it, try to get it closer so we could get the forks under. Had to readjust again. I had to get the straps all the way to the front here, so hopefully this time it'll work. So when I had just the bell housing, I had a bell housing off of an engine, and I was able to set it down in the pockets and then rotate it in. But obviously you can't do that here, so I might have to cut that lip out right here on this C-channel. That would make life the easiest, but maybe I'll just see if we can tilt it in there, but that's gonna be kind of a pain in the rear end. So I think we're just gonna pull it back out, and I'm gonna notch that whole thing out. Well, it's in there. It took me a little bit, just for the simple fact that I kept kind of like nibbling at this right here. I didn't want to cut more than I absolutely had to, and so I just kept nibbling and nibbling and nibbling, and finally got it down to where it needs to be. So so I just wanted to get it in here for two reasons. That skid steer is leaking, like, even when it's running, it's leaking like super fast, so it's not going to hold it overnight. I really don't want it sitting on the ground. So for whatever reason, these are narrower. I'm not sure what the deal is. So I actually took these off of another engine, because the way that they had these hangers here was not, I didn't really like it, and the boots on that truck are really crappy and rotted, and as old as that thing was, I don't know that I could find I don't know if I could get boots. I probably could, but whatever. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to shim both pieces out. Just give me a plate of steel and put in behind to shim that out on both sides evenly to make up whatever this distance is here. Looks like it might be, let me see if I can get my tape measure in there. Center to center there is about 1 3/8 ish. So I'll just have to get me a plate that's whatever half that is. I'm not doing that math right now. For both sides, it'll be what? Not quite 3/4. If it was 1.5, it'd be 3/4 inch plate on both sides, which that might end up being what it is. So the flywheel needs to be turned. I think that, so the front, so my wife don't think so, but I think that this piece here, so based on the rear, I thought that this frame was wider than that other frame, so I didn't even bother getting this brace piece here off of that one. But I think that that one over there is down farther, so that would bring the front of the engine down a little bit, because it does seem like it's sitting back in there. My wife doesn't seem to think that it's any lower than this one, but I think it is. I don't really have anything this exact 28 inches to go from 28.5 inches to go from one side to one side to set flat on top of here, you know, on both sides in order to measure down. I could go grab me a board and cut it, but I'm not too concerned with it, because the hole that's in here does actually line up with one of those holes, but I'd have to drill another one, and I'm just not going to, because there's no reason in drilling holes and stuff when you have the right stuff. So I'm not doing that. So anyways, I'm very excited. It's in there, and I'm excited to have the air pump, because I'm going to be able to shift. I'm going to be able to not have that air compressor sitting on the back of here. This will probably come off. When the engine was in here, the 7.3 was in here, I done a lot of modifications on here, because I wanted a front to back cooler system. because the side-by-side, as I've stated 1,000 times, they're garbage. And so this was part of that rearranging, because this sat right here, that degas bottle, and my piping was coming through here, and so that was way in my way. So I've got all that. I can reconfigure this however I want now that I'm, you know, putting another engine in it. So then I have to build a doghouse of some sort. I don't know how exactly I'm going to do that. So yeah, I hope you can stay for the adventure and kind of see how everything goes. So another truck build.